All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's the regular council meeting of June 10th, 2019. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Bliss.
I'm here.
Councilman Corbett.
Here.
Councilman Gettings.
Here.
Councilor Grafstein. Here. Councilwoman Scott. Here. Councilman Soltis.
Here.
Mayor Hartwell.
Can I get a motion to excuse Mayor Hartwell from this meeting? He let us know in advance.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Corbett.
Yeah, so moved to excuse the mayor.
Can I get a second?
Mr. Mayor, second.
All right, a motion by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Scott to excuse Mayor Hartwell from this meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. For clarification, was that a no, Councilman Gettings?
No, I voted yes.
Oh, it came from the audience. If we could please keep the discussion to a minimum in the gallery, I'd really appreciate it. And sorry, everyone, you're with the B team here today. I will try to do my best to fill the shoes and keep the meeting moving as promptly as possible and as quickly as we can get through all the agenda items. But I would appreciate the assistance from the public in helping us streamline that. Cool. So I'm going to kick off with an invocation, and then we'll continue immediately into the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are able to and willing to, if you could please stand for the invocation and pledge, that would be appreciated.
Cheryl, I'm a yes.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussions that lead to sound plans and long-term strategies that will move our city forward. Let us remember that this meeting, every minute of it, is important because it's filled with countless new and exciting opportunities to make our city and world better. Help us to see the significance of even the smallest piece of positive change and work with us to serve the city and its residents, both current and future. Remind us that in each vote that we cast, we're representing the will of thousands of citizens who are relying on us to hear their voice and look out for them and their families. Finally, continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is only to make our community a more prosperous one with each and every passing day. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So now we move to approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda today?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Corbett.
I move to add under reports a D2, which will be the purchase and sale of properties under the Parcel Redevelopment Program.
Awesome. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Gettings.
Second.
All right. Any discussion on adding that to the agenda? Perfect. Well, I got a motion by Councilman Corbett, a second by Councilman Gettings, to add to the agenda under reports D2 the Parcel Redevelopment Program, which is the purchase and sale of foreclosed property in year 2. All those in favor of adding this to the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. All right, now we will kick off with presentations. We've got an excellent one here tonight, Proclamation celebrating the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. Manager Marsh?
It's in honor of the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution guaranteeing women the right to vote. Council is requested to proclaim today, June the 10th of 2019, as the start of the Year of the Woman, and to encourage participation incorporating centennial activities into events and festivities throughout not only Madison Heights, but the state of Michigan and the nation. And the significance of today is that 100 years ago today, the state of Michigan was one of the first states to ratify this. So we have a representative from the Women's Club in Madison Heights, Laurie Geralds, that's going to accept the proclamation.
One of our past presidents for our Women's Club. Thank you for accepting this on behalf of the city. Okay, so we have no public hearings. As far as items on the agenda of interest to be able to move forward, I know we've had a request to be able to move D and F up. So if that is okay with the rest of council, we can tackle D1 reports, which is from the interim DPS director on the Oakland County Local Road Program.
For the past 3 years, the city successfully participated in Oakland County's Local Road Improvement Program to assist local units of government with needed local road improvements. The city has been successful in receiving $134,000 since 2016. Oakland County is offering the program again for 2019. We have applied for the maximum matching grant amount of $57,500 for sectional concrete repairs to Lincoln Avenue. The Oakland County LRIP program will provide $57,500 in matching grant funds for the city's 2019 Lincoln Avenue sectional repair project. This will result in a total project cost of $307,491. Funds are budgeted and available for this project, and construction is scheduled for the summer and fall of 2019. Staff recommend that City Council approve this cost participation agreement and authorize the mayor to sign on behalf of the city.
What's the wish of council on this?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Corbett.
So I move that the council approve the recommended 2019 Oakland County Local Road Improvement Program cost participation agreement, which will run through the current budget year, and further authorize the mayor and the city clerk to sign on behalf of the city.
Perfect. Do I have support?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Gettings.
support.
Is there any discussion from council on this issue? All right, hearing none. We have a motion on the table from Councilman Corbett, support from Councilman Gettings to approve and enter into the agreement for the Oakland County Local Road Improvement Program that also authorizes the mayor and clerk to sign on behalf of the city. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. All right, now we have the item we added to the agenda, D2, the Parcel Redevelopment Program. Do you have a report for that too?
Yes. The Oakland County Treasurer has offered to the city, under first right of refusal, 2 foreclosed properties, 29249 28249 Townley Avenue, and 336 West Lincoln Avenue. The city has the option to purchase these, and I would make a recommendation, staff and I, that City Council purchase and sell these properties for the cost of $29,642.96.
What is the wish of council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Corbett.
Just to confirm, the attorney had recommended 2 motions on this, one a purchase to acquire and then to sell.
I think we were able to take that as one motion. Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor, you can do it either way.
Okay,
Either way
yeah.
is fine.
So we could do it as one.
What's your preference, Mr. Mayor? To do it as one?
Let's do it as one.
Okay. Well, then I move that the council approve the recommended participation in the Parcel Redevelopment Program to acquire the properties and then sell them at 28249 Townley and 336 West Lincoln, both in Madison Heights.
Is there support for this motion?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilman Scott. All right, any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
point of information for council under section 7.6 of the charter, the purchase or sale of any real estate requires 5 affirmative votes of council.
Okay, so after discussion, we'll do a roll call vote. It'll take 5 yeses to be able to move forward with the program. Any comments? All right. I personally think that this is a great program. These are homes that have already passed through the work that we do and the work of the Treasurer's Office to be able to make sure that We are reaching out to families in need and providing them any and every bit of assistance that we can. And so normally, we'd be seeing, I think last year we had a dozen or so properties like this. Through the work and effort of our staff and the work and effort of the Oakland County Treasurer's Department, that number is only 2 this year. And even better than that is now these properties that could potentially sit vacant and dormant and be a lot of burden on a neighborhood are now going to see a significant investment, I believe greater than $40,000 per property in rehabbing them as a part of this program. So I personally believe that it's a very big positive for the city, and I'm thankful that we're doing it here tonight. Any final comments from council before we vote?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to add that this is our, like the Mayor Pro Tem said, this is our second year doing it. I wasn't for it the first year, and I don't think I'm going to get for it the second year. Not that it's, in conception, it's probably a good idea or a program, but I think it's probably the worst thing in the world for someone to lose their home. Now, I know that the county has helped out and reached them, but I don't know the details of that. I just can't feel in good conscience to vote for it if I don't know exactly why they lost their home, and maybe if it was seniors involved, that would be detrimental. And I think for me personally, I would just like to know a little bit more of why they lost their home, even though it sometimes, in some cases, it's been a few years for them that they're in this process. But I just think, looking back last year and this year, that and then again, this year we didn't know specifics about it, and to me, I just can't vote for it unless I know that. Thank you.
I can appreciate that, and I think one takeaway maybe for staff is to be able to dig into and do a little bit more reporting. It would be ideal if we didn't have any next year, but a point of clarification for the audience and those watching at home, this program, these homes have already been foreclosed on, and so we're taking advantage of the ability to purchase them and send them to a developer instead of the potential for them sitting vacant. It's an opportunity that municipalities like ours have, but these homes have already been foreclosed on. So we can learn from it, we can get some better reporting, and I do appreciate that we're taking advantage of this program. Any final thoughts from council? All right, well, we will need to do a roll call vote. Yes is to move forward with the program. No is to not move forward with it. Roll call, please.
Councilman Gettings?
Yes.
Councilor Grafstein?
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott?
Yes.
Councilman Soltis?
No.
Councilman Corbett?
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Bliss.
I vote yes. Motion passes. All right, so now we're on bid awards for this exact parcel redevelopment program. We have a report from the city manager.
Yes. As part of the fiscal year 2019 goal plan, staff proposed and implemented a tax foreclosure redevelopment program. Overall, this program was very successful in fiscal year 2019 as we saw properties cleaned up, increased comparable sale prices in the neighborhoods, and the foreclosed homes sold to occupant owners. Therefore, staff and I propose to continue this program in fiscal year 2020. This year, the city only has 2 foreclosed properties eligible for this program, and therefore the city intends to only use 1 vendor. We once again issued a request for proposal and had 8 companies submit proposals. The focus of the program continues to be on the immediate cleanup of the exterior of the property as well as ongoing maintenance, guaranteed code-compliant renovations to foreclosed properties in a prompt fashion, sale of residential properties to owner-occupants, immediate tax-based benefit from renovated structures as well as use of these properties for future appraisal comparables, and a reduction in potential future single-family rentals and vacant properties throughout the city. Staff and I reviewed each of these proposals, taking into account the minimum guaranteed investment, the proposed admin fees, the proposed timeline, and the plan for disposition of vacant properties. HP Snap Investments guaranteed the highest investment of $45,000 minimum and a proposed administrative fee of $5,000 per property, and they have proven to work within the timelines. The issued RFP stated that the city would have the option to renew annually for 5 years. However, at this time, we plan to issue an RFP next year also if we have more than 3 foreclosed homes. The total number of bidders recommended will depend on the total number of properties being foreclosed. Staff and I recommend City Council award the tax redevelopment program to HP Snap Investments, approving the contract and authorizing the city manager and the city clerk to sign on behalf of the city.
What's the wish of council on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Scott.
I move for City Council to award the tax redevelopment program to HP Snap Investments, approving the contract and authorizing the city manager and city clerk to sign on behalf of the city.
Perfect motion. Do we have a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Grafstein?
support.
All right, we have a motion on the table from Councilwoman Scott, seconded by Councilor Grafstein, to award the parcel redevelopment program to HP Snap. Do we have any discussion on that?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Scott.
I like the fact that we are following this program. It is heartbreaking to lose your home. I know my son had that happen during the recession. It was heartbreaking for the whole family. But I wanted to say, usually what happens is when a property is improved, it becomes very contagious. And you'll find that that improvement aspect will spread throughout the neighborhood. So I think it's a wonderful plan that we're following. That's all.
Any other comments?
That's it.
Great. Hearing no more comments, we can move forward and vote. This does not require the supermajority, so 4 votes would be acceptable here. All those in favor signify by saying aye, and opposed say no. In favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say no.
No.
Motion carries. All right, so now we have F2. It's a report from the interim DPS director, and it's the 2019 Sealcoat Streets Rehabilitation Project.
Sealcoat roads consisting of Rialto, Spicer, Park Court, Alden, and Natton, all located south of 11 Mile, as well as Areta, located north of 11 Mile, have been deteriorated and have recently been listed in extremely poor condition during the 2018 road rating analysis. Due to the current condition of the Sealcoat roads and considering the significant cost difference, staff and the consulting city engineers recognized that rehabilitation as opposed to complete concrete reconstruction was the best measure for long-term improvements, specifically for these streets. Funding has been phased over the last several years in the local street construction and maintenance account to perform this work. This is strictly a pavement rehabilitation project and does not include sidewalks, storm drain, ditching, or utility improvements. On May the 29th, 2019, 3 sealed bids were received at the city clerk's office by the deadline. Upon review, Nagel Paving Company of Novi, Michigan provided the lowest bid for this project. Nagel Paving Company has completed several similar projects for other municipalities in recent years. Therefore, staff and I recommend that council award the bid for the 2019 Sealcoat Streets Rehabilitation Project to the lowest responsible bidder, Nagel Paving Company of Novi, Michigan, for a total project amount of $444,730. Funding is budgeted and available for this project.
All right, what's the wish of council on this?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Corbett.
Sir, I move that the council award the bid for the 2019 Sealcoat Street Rehabilitation Project to the lowest responsible bidder, Nagel Paving Company of Novi, for a total project cost of $444,730. Funding is budgeted and allowed for within the, is budgeted and available for the project.
And then allowing mayor and clerk to sign?
Please.
Awesome. Do we have support?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Gettings.
support.
So we have a motion on the table by Councilman Corbett and a second by Councilman Gettings to move forward with the 2019 Sealcoat Streets Rehabilitation Project and award it to, is it Nagel Paving? For an amount of $444,730. Are there any comments from council?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I was hoping that we could have somebody, maybe the Corey over there, explain to the public and the audience, you know, that we're going to spend about $500,000 on what it's about, what it consists of. And
Perfect, yeah, if you're willing.
possible.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. The Pulp and Pave project is it's a project that we've done similarly on other parking lots in Madison Heights. Civic Park was done in, I think, 2013. Ambassador Park was done a couple years ago. What happens is a very large machine comes in and pulverizes the existing asphalt surface to a coarse and fine aggregate, allows the contractor to shape and compact the surface and then pave a 3.5 inch asphalt overlay over top of that pulverized material. The benefit to this is that it moves rather quickly. There's a cost savings involved with it that we don't have to haul off the existing asphalt material, and that could increase the cost quite substantially.
And what's the life expectancy for this?
On a residential road, on those residential roads there, and I don't know when those roads, specific roads, were originally paved, but we can look and expect anywhere from 10 to 15 years with this project.
Thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions for our interim DPS director? Right. Can you have a seat? One thing I like from this, and I wanted to highlight to the public, we did an initial bid on this in April, and one bidder responded, and that bid was $543,000. So staff did a great job in putting this out, back out to bid, and in a closed bid process, and we are saving significant amount, $98,000 from what the original bid was, just by doing this extra bit of due diligence. So I applaud staff's efforts on that, and I think it should be noted. It is a little bit higher than what we budgeted, but construction costs seem to be, or not than we budgeted, than our engineer's estimate. We do have the budgeted funds available, but construction costs seem to keep continuing to rise. So it's something we'll have to just pay attention to if this is going to be more of a new norm. But I'm very appreciative of staff's effort in saving the taxpayers almost $100,000 with this project. Any other comments from council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Scott.
Usually, I'm a firm believer, after hearing reports from everyone, that it's always better to tear a road down to the beginning structure and replace it. But I know that's incomprehensible for our budget. So I think this is a great tactic to use to keep that road around a little longer than normally it would. So I thank you for working that out, Corey. Thank you.
All right, any other comments from council? All right, we have a motion by Councilman Corbett, a second by Councilman Gettings, to award the 2019 Sealcoat Streets Rehabilitation Project to Nagel Paving at an amount of $444,730 and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign on behalf of the city. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Okay, so that eliminates reports and bid awards, so we will go back to our regularly scheduled agenda. There are no public hearings, so let's go to meeting open to the public. Now, just a couple of things. If you are willing to, it would be very helpful if you could give your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. That is it. Please direct everything to me as the chair of the meeting. Don't call out any individual members of council. Please don't have any communication with other members of the gallery. This is your time to be able to talk to us, but it is not a communication. This is an area for you to speak and share with council, but we will not be replying in any type of rebuttal. So, meeting is open to the public.
Hello, my name's Gloria Moore.
Hi, Gloria.
From Friends of the Madison Heights Area Senior Citizens. I have the flyer like I normally do. This time I had made up a packet, and this was from April 23rd. We asked for outreach speakers to speak for 5 to 15 minutes for community outreach only. And here on the second page, we have an email saying that states that I believe that Janetti is interested in senior citizens. I was letting Brian know about that. And here is our part of our event page on Facebook that states that Janetti Eghart is a guest speaker, and also it's only for senior citizens only. This is not a public rally. This is not for any other issue. It's for senior citizens only. We found another event page that says support Janetti. That is basically somebody's hijacking our meeting. It states our time, our place. We got permission to be there. They did not. They could easily go to a restaurant or whatever and ask permission there to have their meetings, but instead they want to come to ours. We are senior citizens only, and anybody else is not welcomed. It is for all ages that is interested in senior citizens. We do have beverages and snacks. It's over at the Sorberg Activity Center at 27783 DeQuinder. That's Madison Sorberg Drive. It's at June 18th at 7 p.m. And thank you for letting me speak. And hopefully everybody here will be there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I address a question to Ms. Moore about the event? You said that you are restricting that to senior citizens only, which I understand. But what if you have, for instance, an elderly parent and you are under 50 or whatever age? I wanted to know what age you're saying is a senior citizen. And if you have like a loving child that wants to get help for their parents, would they be restricted to that meeting as well?
No, it's all ages can attend.
Okay.
But the concerns are strictly senior citizens. It's how we can service the senior citizens, how we can benefit the seniors, charities, services, whatever we can do within our volunteers and resources. No other issues are involved, just seniors. Anybody else or any other issues is unwelcomed. It's just senior citizen issues and concerns only.
All right.
Thank you.
That's what I just want to make sure that everybody understood, that if you were under being a senior, that you could still come and attend the meeting and glean the information.
If you're concerned about a senior and have a senior citizen issue or want to help senior citizens, you're more than welcome to come.
Okay. Thank you very much, Gloria.
Thank you. Meeting is still open to the public. Welcome.
Pat Shields, resident of Madison Heights. Kind of left you alone for a while, but I'm back here about marijuana. Just want to remind you that the Michigan Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana Act, Section 9.13C, says the property where the proposed marijuana establishment is to be located is not within an area zoned exclusively for residential use and is not within 1,000 feet of a pre-existing public or private school, providing education in kindergarten or any of the grades 1 through 12 unless a municipality adopts an ordinance that reduces this distance requirement. I didn't understand why the city council elected to make it 500 feet when the regulation indicated 1,000. But after reading this article in the Madison Park News, I have a fairly good idea of why council did what they did. City council studies every penny of spending and has developed a long-term strategy to grow our tax base. Hartwell said, "There is a reason that I regularly promote the North Side Asian Town to bring together our 200 Asian-owned businesses. There is a reason a majority of city council adopted an ordinance allowing 14 medical marijuana industrial businesses. That reason, a rising ride will lift all ships." Expanding our tax base will provide a safer, healthier, and more productive life for our residents. As we continue to rebuild our city, we will always be mindful of what our residents need: affordability, safety, access to good schools, good jobs, and professional city services. Now tell me how allowing 14 medical marijuana or marijuana industrial businesses will make us safer, give us good jobs, and good schools. Just want to bring your attention to a few points here.
Just,
In
so
reference
you have
to-
30 seconds left.
Pardon me?
30 seconds left. So.
New York, girls sick by marijuana candy given to classmates during school hours. Cleveland, this is in 2019, 14 elementary school students were given gummy bears laced with marijuana. Florida, 5th graders thought she brought gummy candy to school. They were laced with marijuana. New Mexico Elementary School, a 9-year-old accidentally shared her grandpa's marijuana gummies with her classmates.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for speaking.
Pardon me?
I said thank you for speaking tonight.
I can't hear.
Thank you for speaking tonight.
Okay, I have one more thing. I have a gift for each of you that I would like to give you, if I may.
You have a handout? I'd be happy to accept that on behalf of council.
I'm sorry.
If you have a handout, I'd be happy to accept that for council.
I'll be happy to give you.
Thank you.
That's what the kids are going to have to be looking at and making a decision whether or not they want to eat them. Okay? Each of you. Enjoy.
Thank you. The meeting is still open to the public. If anybody else would like to speak. It would be one at a time, and you can have up to 3 minutes apiece.
Oh, my name is Susan Bellinger. I live at 26546 Palmer. I've been a resident there for 40 years. Next door to me at this address, they are running a barber shop. They are, I wrote everything out. These are the traffic amounts on 2 days. 53 cars on a Friday, 56 on a Saturday. Excessive speeding, I mean, bad. They're always blocking people's driveways, blocking the sidewalk. I have pictures on the other side. Their house was broken into last year in May. Never called the police. But once they were broken into, they installed surveillance cameras all around their house. One witness barber chair is being delivered. There's another resident next door to them. He gets his hair cut and his beard threaded there. They charge police have been called 4 times that I can remember, and nothing's ever done. Also, last year, I went to Angela, code enforcement. I told her of the business there. She drove down the street a couple times and called me and said she found nothing wrong. I mean, at 5 o'clock today, there were 8 cars there at one time. And you can see the people coming out with haircuts, shaking off the hair, taking off their shirts. It's very disruptive, very loud, radios, gathering in the street. It's just really bad. I did bring some pictures. These are 3 of the 6 or 7 cars that have excessive speed. These are some of the illegal parking jobs. And when the police are called, the cars are already gone by the time they get there.
My name is Lisa Bahash. I'm at 26515 Palmer. This is my house. I couldn't get into my house. I could not pull into my driveway. There are customers that are going in to get a haircut are blocking me from getting into my house. It's Friday, Saturday night, like Sue said. There's 56 cars in a day. Each car has 3 or 4 people going in for a haircut at $45 a pop. I'm sure you can figure out how many thousands of dollars in cash per day they're bringing in. There's no reason why they cannot afford to lease a building and run a business. I haven't slept. I don't know about the rest of my neighbors, but I have not slept. It's nonstop cars. It gets real bad around 5 p.m. every night. Every night during the week, all weekend long. It's car door slamming. People sit in their cars while they drop off somebody to go get a haircut. And it's loud music. They leave their lights on, their car running. It's nonstop car door slamming. It goes through till about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I haven't slept. I know a lot of my neighbors haven't slept, and we're all on the same page. There's no reason why you should have to run a business in a residential area with the amount of cash that they bring in. Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Marshall. I live at 26515 Palmer. Everything that we're saying, I can verify. I work a full-time job. I own JM Contracting. I have a business license. I do everything that I'm supposed to do. These guys, as far as I know, do not have a business license. It's just getting ridiculous. We live there. We want a nice neighborhood. These guys, I believe, that can afford to get a shop, like another barber shop, like everybody else does. These guys are running a business without, that they shouldn't, out of their house. I personally seen them bring a semi come up. They unloaded 3 or 4 barber chairs out of the semi, dragged them to the back of their house. I guess they had them installed. So the bottom line is they're running a shop out of their house, okay? And I believe that, as far as I know, that's against the law, as far as I know. And we're just a little fed up out of it. This has been going on a long time, and we've been, like we tried to call the cops on them. They're parked on the wrong side of the street. They're parked in front of us. And by the time, the police are busy, I know, by the time they get to there, they're already gone. That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. All right, welcome.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Sanders, and I live at 26537 Palmer. I live directly across the street from them. I just bought my house last spring. I'm a first-time homeowner, and I was really excited about living there. However, there's no peace and quiet. It's constant traffic outside of my house. People park directly in front of my house. They sit in their cars, on their phones, with their music blasting. I mean, it doesn't really feel safe. I mean, I didn't even know they were running a barber shop. I thought there was something else going on over there. Because people just sit outside and there's constant traffic in and out. I have gone out there at times, like 11 o'clock at night, when there's loud music and I can't sleep. And sometimes the people are extremely rude to us. So they're not very pleasant either. I foster dogs, and, you know, sometimes, especially with the car door slamming, loud music, people loitering in the street, you know, it sets the dogs off, so the dogs are barking, and it's just very hard for me to enjoy living in that house, in that space, with the neighbors being that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Alyssa Fitzpatrick. I also live at 26537 Palmer. I moved in a little over a year ago as well with Jennifer, and it has been since the day that we moved in. We have two driveways at our house. They have completely blocked us into our driveway. The police have come, they have not intervened. I have called the police a minimum of 5 times in the past year. My house is on the main level. There's constantly light shining through the windows. There's people slamming doors going at least 40 miles an hour. It's not a safe environment for those who have families down the street. We just really want to see something done. We've tried to calmly address it with them. We've tried to knock on their door. They won't answer for us. We just really want to live in a neighborhood that's peaceful. There's people like actually sitting in the street. There's people fighting in their cars. It's constant. This is every single night, and people are there for 5 minutes, drive off, speed away. We would just, honestly, we really just want to live in a peaceful neighborhood, and we would like to see something finally done about this. Thank you.
If you wouldn't mind, I know the city manager has been taking a lot of notes, but if she could take a quick picture of that board, that would be helpful.
Can I keep it? Or bring it? I can't. Can I keep it? You can come back and pick it up. Okay.
Thank you.
Your Honor, what was the address of the house in question?
I don't know if we want to publicize that, but I believe that it's on the board, right? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. May I ask a quick question? Is there a contact number on there for one of you, for the city manager, or someone to get in touch with? And if not, can someone, don't say it, but can someone write down a phone number or a good way for us to contact you? Yes. You can give it to the city manager.
Our city manager.
Thank you. No, I don't want you to give it out to everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Just write it down.
With your name.
You're fine. The meeting is still open to the public. If anybody else from the public would like to speak, now's the time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
My name is Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
I'm
Welcome.
sure you know me. I'm from Sterling Heights, and I'm what you call an out-of-towner, I guess. But I would like to ask the city council if they please send Boomer home. Justin wants to leave the city and take his dog, and really, why isn't that okay? I mean, this dog has not done anything wrong. There's no proof that he did. And I may be upsetting some of you, but I'm here to speak for Boomer because he can't speak for himself. And I speak for everybody and every human and every dog that can't speak for themselves. And this dog has paid enough penalty. He's been in jail for a year almost. And I know a man who stabbed a dog that isn't even getting that much time. So when you have your little meetings and stuff, could you please think about releasing this dog? You know, this is getting to be political. It's getting to be really outrageous. How can you let this go on for almost a year, the same thing, when you have so many other problems in your city that you could be solving and listening to? So if I could ask you to please think about returning Boomer to where he belongs and let Justin take him and leave town. He's really a beautiful, sweet dog, and he did not do what people are accusing him of. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking. Would anybody else like to speak under open comments?
Hi, my name is Carolyn Roberts from Warren.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. I didn't feel too welcome the last time because on my way out the door, I did hear the comment, which I'm kind of disappointed the mayor's not here today because some of my comments are for him. I heard that the out-of-towners have now left the room. I felt really, I took offense to that. I'm an out-of-towner. Yes, I live in Warren, but I live right there in the corner of Hazel Park, Warren, and Madison Heights. I do more for the city of Madison Heights and for Hazel Park than I do for my own city. I've worked with their animal controls. Your animal control officer now can attest to that. He knows how much I do for the animals in both cities. I do TNR in Madison Heights. I do it in Hazel Park as well. And I spend a lot of money here. My daughter lives here. I have lots of friends here. I volunteer for a rescue here in town. So to be called an out-of-towner, and we don't want to hear from out-of-towners, basically, because at the end he also thanked the Madison Heights residents for speaking, and that he appreciates hearing from the people that elect them. That's very offensive to me for all I do for this city. And I noticed that it seems like you guys can speak, you can respond if you choose to. That just happened here today. So I'm gathering you just don't choose to respond. And I'd like to know, and you're not going to answer because I know you say you can't, if the mayor doesn't have the power, if the city council doesn't have the power, who has the power in the city to do something? Who? Is it the city manager? Who has the power? Is he just a mayor for show? And for him to put out posts calling, oh, by the way, I'm a delusional out-of-towner at that, too. I would be horrified if the mayor in my city was rude even to out-of-towners. Does he only care about the people in his city? Because I would expect a mayor, a person in that position, to be kind to everyone, not just the people in his city. We're asking that Boomer be let to go home to Justin. I do believe you guys have the power. I know you say you don't. I do believe you do, but if you don't, I'd like to know who does have that power. Thank you.
Meeting's still open to the public.
Hello, I'm Enid Shearer from Farmington Hills.
Welcome.
Yes, I'm an out-of-towner, and I just decided to talk today because while I'm an out-of-towner, so is your attorney, and so is his office. They are from out of town, and so if you let him come and work for you, we care very much about one of your citizens and his dog. And I can't even speak enough about how upsetting it is to see that Boomer he's been blamed for doing something he didn't do. It is very obvious when you read about coyotes that they're the ones that attack the stomach. It is not Boomer. He had no blood on him. And there's plenty of reason why I should react, because I live in Oakland County, I live in Michigan, and I believe and I trust what I see. And I don't like what I see about Boomer being held for over a year for something he didn't do. It's so selfish for him to not even be able to have a home. They say he has to stay locked up in this place, and he doesn't have a home to go home to because he wants his dad. He really misses his dad, and his dad really misses him. I'm a concerned citizen in America, in Michigan, in Oakland County, and I'm here in Madison Heights because I think it's unfair what you are doing regarding this dog. Please make a decision to send him home to his father.
Thank you for speaking. Hi, welcome.
Hi there. I'm Kim Palmaville. I am a resident of Madison Heights, so I guess I'm not an out-of-towner. One thing I want to say is apparently the mayor has referred to these advocates as out-of-towners, but I do want you to know that we have compiled a list of residents that have signed a statement saying that they are from Madison Heights and they do support Boomer going home. Part of it is with another one of our advocates, and we do want to make copies of it before we turn it over to the city council, that there are many people who do support Boomer going home who live in this city, but they just are not as vocal and don't attend the protests, but they do exist. So I have taken offense to that too. You know, we worked hard. Let's face it, something like this is hard to do for people, to come out and stand up for what they think is right. So yes, they are out there. There are supporters. And I just want to clarify by saying that as far as this goes on and on, I just believe in my heart of hearts that Boomer, there's no way he could have done this, because, I mean, we all saw what happened to poor Chubbs, and whoever did this would have been engorged with blood, and that dog had nothing. There was tremendous conflicting stories, and even though the owner's daughter first said she stated Boomer bit Chubbs, I'm not saying I don't want to call her a liar. She probably was responding to this in the moment, okay? But once she stated that she did not see what went on, Judge Hunt should have dropped that case. And I'm not really understanding why our prosecution is continuing to hold on to this unless they just don't want to admit that they've made a mistake. And as far as out-of-towners go, Bingham Farms could be considered out of town too, to Mr. Sherman and Sherman. So he's from out of town as well as our advocates are. So anyway, I want to thank you for listening, and do say again, we want Boomer to go home and live a normal life. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for speaking. Meeting is still open to the public?
Good evening. My name is Linda Kay. I'm from Armada, another out-of-towner. I do want to first say, I'm not sure if you saw the email that was sent by your mayor calling us delusional conspiracy theorists. Extremely offensive, as we never come here and degrade anybody or call anybody names. We are here to stand for what's right. We will continue to do so. I'm not going to lower myself to what he has done to us. And also, all of us who are connected in rescue, I have shared everything that Madison Heights needs help with their shelter. I will continue to do so to help your city, to help your animals. We're looking for that in return from you. Conspiracy theory, though, it starts with a group when logical facts don't add up. So maybe he's correct. Maybe he's correct calling us conspiracy theorists because the facts don't add up. So we're putting the pieces together, and we're going to continue to do so. Delusional is based on having faulty judgment, beliefs that are contradicted by reality. There's only one person that can be called delusional. I'm not going to call names. On 5/22, there was a federal court hearing which was stated a settlement was agreed upon by the city of Madison Heights and Justin. And this was by, I don't know how to say the name, but Jeff Sherman and the lawyer Battersby. However, on 5/28, a provision was sent in. Why was that? Why was it? The agreement was to Exhibit A. We have all the court records. We have everything, just so you know. They say everything is held in a public meeting. In regards to this, no, it is not. We have records on that. You have meetings which aren't even during the time frames of your public meetings. We have copies of that also. Sherman and Sherman Law Firm, you represented the city for 30 years. But now you need to represent truth. And I also want to know what knowledge of dogs Judge Hunt has, Police Officer Haynes has. I heard he was a canine officer. I find that very hard to believe because you can tell by a character of a dog just assessing that, so I'm not sure. But there's a lot of stuff that doesn't add up here, a lot. And I don't want to be rude, but if you check the Google ratings of Sherman these days, it's not the highest rating. And I would want somebody representing my city who's stellar, who means they're upstanding, who stands for right, and who, when you're presenting a court case, you better have all of your facts from A to Z. I don't see the facts. We have come here, I understand you can't answer. We want to know when a public meeting can be where we can get our answers that we have been asking. We just want the proof. Everybody here is so very upset about Chubbs. There's not one of us here that would ever wish or want that on any. That's a pet, a loved animal. And I can also tell you, I'm going to speak for myself, because maybe I have rescued several pit bulls. I rescue everything. But not one of us, I would hope, would stand for an animal who would be aggressive, a threat to any other animal or to any other people. We would not fight this fight to put an animal that could injure somebody or another animal back out into public.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, good evening, council members. My name is Sharon Denmark. I live on Palmer, Madison Heights. I have lived in the city for 20 years, and I'm the owner of Chubbs, the Chihuahua that was killed on April 2nd. This is Chubbs. And I would like to personally thank you for the opportunity for so many members of the city and the surrounding areas to express their concerns, complaints, emotions, etc. for the situation. As you can imagine, the past year has been very difficult, not only for my family, but for the Christopher family. My children and I have been ridiculed, threatened, harassed, and bullied on a daily basis by people that don't know us, but feel it's okay to be nasty and exhibit toxic behavior. What these people have not realized is Chubbs is the real victim here, not Boomer. Mr. Christopher could have taken 2 extra minutes to either close the access door leading to the doggy door or put a leash on Boomer to take him with him for a walk that day. He chose to do neither one. By way of history, Boomer has always shown interest and aggression to Chubbs and our other dogs as well as people since he has moved in. In fact, a former roommate of Mr. Christopher's warned us that Boomer was very aggressive and that someone always needed to be with him when he was outside. As an FYI, there was a piece of wood on their side of the fence to stop Boomer from pushing at the fence to try and get into my yard, and that piece of wood remains there still today. There was an incident in roughly around 2017, spring, summer, of Boomer coming across my front lawn. He picked up Chubbs and started walking away with him back to his home. And the only reason that he stopped is because a family friend was standing right there and yelled at him, and Boomer stopped. He dropped him. After the incident on April 2nd, Boomer was sent home, back over the fence, by the way, and remained in their home until the animal control officer arrived, which is approximately about an hour or so after the incident. Therefore, no one saw him other than Mr. Christopher's family members. And I'm not accusing anyone, but those are the only people that saw him. Even though Mr. Christopher has stated he was going to take Boomer and put him down the day of the incident, he did not. Boomer has been spared from euthanasia because I have requested and or agreed to this. I am an animal lover. My dog is not coming back. He cannot, however, be returned to the home as if nothing happened because our dog was killed and we have been adversely affected by this. I come here today not to complain, not to accuse, not to ridicule, but to bring to the attention to all that Chubbs still has a voice, and he too deserves to be heard. Chubbs is the victim. Chubbs and Boomer are where they are today due to the negligence of an owner. This is not about the pit bull breed, but it is about negligence. In closing, I would like to thank you again for the opportunity to come here tonight, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, the meeting is still open to the public. Would anybody else like to speak tonight?
Martha Bailey, Shelby Township, Michigan. First of all, I want to say I'm appalled at this hatred and all this going on. And yes, I feel bad for Chubbs, but the bottom line is that there was negligence on her part too. Who was watching Chubbs? I've got 2 Chihuahuas, and I watch them when they're outside because I know I live next door to a park.
Please try to refrain from specifically mentioning anybody in the audience.
I didn't mention a name, excuse me. I did not mention a name. So we're not being specific. But I am so sick of the accusing of Boomer because there was no evidence that Boomer is aggressive. He has not shown any aggression where he's at now. This has been dragged on for a year. And we're talking about negligence here? Give me a break. I watch my Chihuahuas when they're outside. I also have a pit bull, best of friends. But let's don't talk about negligence unless we talk about both sides.
That's it.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public would like to speak under meeting open to the public?
Hello?
Hi, welcome.
Good, thank you. My name is Jenny Testa. I live in Sterling Heights. Although I have a sister that has lived in Madison Heights for almost 30 years. Nephew and niece that has been born and raised in Madison Heights. And now my daughter lives in Madison Heights. And I'm not proud of it. Let's talk about some points about Boomer in this case. No DNA was performed. No blood was found. Testimony against the veterinarian and animal control stating that they did not know what dog or animal could have done this. I've been raised in a family where my father retired from the Southfield Police Department. My uncle retired from the Detroit Police Department, and a cousin that worked for Bloomfield Hills Police Department. I am disgusted on what I see that goes on behind closed scenes, behind closed doors. We have a situation where the police, chief of police has a friendship with the owner of Chubbs. Where I hear recently that the mayor is currently playing ball with Chubbs' family member, one of them. We can continue to blame Boomer for being an attacker and aggression. As all of you and some people, not all of you, some of you might think he is aggressive. But by looking at the videos and watching countless videos of Boomer, countless videos, he is nothing but a loving, affectionate animal. No aggression whatsoever. None. I feel this is judged on his breed. I feel that his owner is being judged. But by watching those videos and seeing his behavior and how well behaved he is a reflection on Justin. To me, Justin is a hard-working young man that is devoted to his pet. Devoted. Again, I am disgusted on what's going on. I have been raised to look up to authority, to look up to every one of you. I have lost all faith in that, and I have lost all faith in you and in Madison Heights. I'm asking you to do everything that I have been raised and taught to do every single day while growing up, and that is to do the honest thing. Please do the honest thing. Allow Boomer to go home to his father where he belongs and where he deserves to be.
Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoy seeing you next week.
Hi, welcome.
My name is Robin Sheehan, 237 Walnut, Wyandotte, Michigan. I grew up in Hazel Park, sister city to Madison Heights. I had family in Madison Heights that are turning over in their graves, I'm sure. They used to do Boy Scouts here, very active members. To be called an out-of-towner from your mayor is a slap in the face. Yet I have a Oakland County Police Department calling me on the weekend to ask me for a favor to come get this dog. It's not safe. Their animal control's not open. I live in Wayne County. To me, that says I'm not just one county person. I am wherever a dog needs me. And for a mayor that is in a public role to get on social media to call supporters of an animal that he may not like names, being derogatory, is absolutely mind-blowing. And it is a shame because it's a black mark on all of you. And not one of you has ever called any one of us a name. Never. But it's put on your shoulders. And for him not to be here on the meeting after he has done this is another thing that he's putting you in the hot seat. What I was going to talk about was not this when I got up here, before I heard that he wasn't going to come. But now on the part of a dog, do you know that there are veterinarians that are doing titer tests because they say dogs are getting over-vaccinated and that's why cancer is on the uprise of dogs? So the titer test will show that dogs have been vaccinated once, yet their immunizations are still good for up to 7 years so far. And that is done by veterinarians. Those are studies done by the veterinary professionals and that are being released. They've actually gone to Congress with it. So know that a dog doesn't have to be vaccinated every year. It's a state law for a rabies vaccine. So Justin was wrong in not having an updated rabies shot. No other vaccine is needed for the state. And the titers done by vaccines, by the blood draw by the veterinarians are showing now that vaccines are good for 7 years. Last year, I got a 3-year distemper, hepatitis, leptospirosis, parainfluenza, and parvo vaccine for 3 years. Before, they were 1 year. Now the vets are increasing them even to 3 years because a dog that is 5 pounds gets the same amount of vaccine that this dog gets. This size dog gets the same amount as a 125-pound dog. So for Justin to be put on the hot seat for the vaccines, who knows? Did anybody draw a titer on Boomer? Thank you.
Thank you. Meeting is still open to the public.
I am Michael Coleman. I live in Royal, and everyone said what I say about Boomer. What I want to say is, you said in the beginning this was a B team. I think this is the A team. Thank you.
Meeting is still open to the public. Hi, welcome.
Hi, how are you tonight? Do you mind if I ask a quick question about closed-door meetings? When you guys have a closed-door meeting and there is still a case going on, like for instance with Justin and that, you're not allowed to discuss it publicly, are you? Is that why closed-door meetings happen, or?
So just as a quick clarification, closed-door meetings, there are very specific reasons that the state of Michigan allows for a closed session to take place. Has to be in those legal parameters. Like today we had one, it was publicly posted, but it was a closed session specific to the purchase and sale of property, which has an exemption under the Open Meetings Act. But there is no business that can be taken place, no votes, no anything.
So
that all has to be into the public session.
So basically it's like a briefing for all of you guys to be on the same page and know all the information about what's going on. So you have facts when you come. Okay. I was just wondering, just for clarification. I want to say that I have listened and watched closely this Boomer case because I too do rescue. I think it's really a shame when you voice the opinion or you say, what if he did do it? People will attack you. And they don't want to listen to all the facts. I mean, nobody has answered the question of what if he did do it, and you're relying upon one veterinarian that said if he was attacked in that manner, there would be a ton of blood on the dog. I work with 6 different veterinarians and spoke to all of them, and they said, well, unfortunately, I'm very sorry to say this in front of the owner, he pops like a balloon. When they pop like a balloon, there's not always a lot of blood. For the amount of sores and the things that were on him, he wouldn't bleed. His legs probably were punctured, and he probably died very quickly afterwards. To place the blame on a 19-year-old who went inside, she went outside with her dogs, looked in her backyard, looked in the neighbor's backyard to make sure that that dog was inside. He has admitted that he did not close his dog door and his dog was secured inside. He was neglectful in not securing his dog inside the home because he left the door open and the dog was allowed to get out. So you cannot blame a 19-year-old for letting her dog go out, turning around, picking something up, and walking back outside to find her dog dead, and a random dog, the neighbor's dog, in her yard. It is not fair to keep blaming that 19-year-old. What else would you assume? There's a strange dog in your backyard. You know that that dog's gone after your dog multiple times. Stop blaming a 19-year-old. Get over that fact. She maybe misspoke. Maybe she didn't see it happen. We know what could have happened. If anybody would like to take their Chihuahua and leave it alone with Chubbs for a couple hours, maybe I'd feel a little better about the situation. But I'm sorry, if anybody would like to leave their Chihuahua alone with Boomer, without humans around, not the same size dog, then maybe I'd feel a little bit better, more confident that he wouldn't kill another little dog. But right now, I kind of don't feel that way. And I'm really sorry that everybody's going through this, and I'm really sorry that the family has been harassed so much to the point where the daughter has left the home. I'm sorry that I am getting harassed and getting really nasty messages from these wonderful animal people who say they care so much. It's really sad that it has become an ego thing instead of a dog thing. The dog is being saved. He is not being euthanized. However, it's not right for him to be expected to go back to a man that neglected his care and was unable to secure his dog when he knew there was an issue.
Could we get your name and address for the record?
My name is Melanie Whitner, and I'm from Roseville. So yes, I'm an out-of-towner, but I don't really care. Give me a title, whatever you want. Thank you.
Thank you. The meeting is still open to the public. Would anybody like to speak? Anybody who has not spoken that would like to speak?
Hi, my name is Emma Green. I live at 1583 Westbrook, Madison Heights, Michigan. I have 2 items I'd like to address, the first of which following up from last meeting about a pride flag in the city. There are still a couple weeks left in June for LGBTQ+ Pride Month, so I'm not sure how much the city can do within that time, especially not having another meeting for the next 2 weeks. But it's still something that I think a lot of community members would like to see, even if it's just one hanging up in the council chambers. You can get them from Affirmations in Ferndale, which is an LGBTQ+ community center that serves queer people like me all around the Ferndale, Madison Heights, Hazel Park area. And I think that it would just be genuinely a really nice thing to see, even if it's just for the last few weeks, and then next year start off right from the beginning. Second, I've been following this Boomer case. I've been following city politics for the past few weeks, past few months, past few years, and I just want to thank the City Council and the City of Madison Heights. I think a lot of people in the city have gotten a bad rap because of this case. I think a lot of it's been taken out of context. A few people in the city have been threatened, harassed, and I just want to say to the people that are serving this city, I thank you for everything you do. It's the people that are on this very council that set me on my career path now. 2 years ago, I was confused, not sure where I was going to go in college. I did an internship program with the city council, and I found my passion for community service, and I'm now majoring in philosophy, politics, and economics. and it's honestly one of the most empowering and endearing things, and that's because of these people. So I just want to thank you and remind you that as much harassment as you might get, as much criticisms, as many people who could say that they think the city of Madison Heights or the council or whatever it might be is not a welcoming place or welcoming council, you genuinely are, and you've made a great impact on a lot of people in the city's lives, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. Meeting's open to the public. $20 seconds.
I just want to say, I can say, anytime all of us are together, we have never even together spoke that's not the right word, wrongly about Chubb's owner. We've never discussed the daughter. We've never placed blame or said anybody was negligent. I feel very upset they came and directed that toward us because we haven't done that. We are for Chubb's. That was shameful, and it's funny they left the room that quickly, but we don't do that.
Thank you. Very, very quickly, please.
Because the main point I wanted to make, and everyone has said here, what she stated about Boomer picking up Chubbs and walking away with him, I'd like to see that in the court records, because that should have been in the court records, and nobody has seen that in the court records from the court case. That seems like an important thing to mention. So I don't know if that's truthful or not.
Thank you. All right. So barring no other comments, I will close the meeting to the public. Yes, Mr. Sherman?
Yes, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. I just want to reiterate very quickly what I said last time, and that is the matter has been resolved, the parties have agreed to the resolution, and council does not have any authority in the matter. I just wanted to reiterate that.
Thank you. Now let's move on. We have no communications under item C. We have no items for future public hearings. There are no ordinances or unfinished business. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes for the regular council meeting of 5/28/19?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Corbett.
Move that the council approve the minutes as printed at the regular meeting of 5/28.
Would that be as printed?
As printed, sir.
Thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor.
Yes, Councilman Soltis.
Support, please.
So I have a motion from Councilman Corbett with a second from Councilman Soltis to approve the regular city council meeting minutes of 5/28/19 as printed. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Without Mayor Hartwell here, I'd like to move past the appointments and tackle them next time, unless there's anything urgent that any member of council would like to bring to the table.
Well, I don't know about urgent, but I have a pending zoning board one that I don't think is controversial now.
Do we have, is there a meeting between now and the next council meeting for the zoning board?
No, there's no meeting, right?
Okay. Would it be all right with you if you tackled this with Mayor Hartwell's here?
Oh, okay.
All right, so with that, I'd like to move to closing comments. As always, we will start with Councilman Corbett.
I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about a matter that's kind of popping up its head a little bit in the last few weeks. Complaints have increased with the GFL contract. It's been no small controversy over the last year or so. In fact, I understand there was a meeting earlier today that I got something of a briefing on, but I guess my point is that I would be interested in seeing a report from the administration. I did talk to Melissa earlier, evaluating the nature of the complaints and number of complaints that we've been getting during this latest uptick, recommendations from the staff and legal, Like I said, I know there was a meeting this morning, and I'm sorry, well, I would have liked to have been there to hear it myself too, but I'd be interested to hear the report on the meeting and what's recommended as far as our progress is on that, and the options that we have. I've had a lot of faith in GFL. They have a lot of technology that they bring to bear in the industry. They have a lot of resources, but enough is enough. Enough is enough. And we're going to have to get progress, or we're going to have to do what we can. And I don't see Corey, so he's off the hook. So I guess that's it. That's really the big thing I have for this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Gettings, anything for tonight?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I believe back in either 84 or 85, the city hosted its first festival in the park where fireworks were involved and entertainment and child's games and things like that. The city will be hosting another one on June 30th of this year, starting at 7 p.m. with fireworks going around 10 p.m. It's always a great event, not just for Madison Heights residents, but other communities always seem to come and enjoy our fireworks. I had one other item that kind of slipped my mind, but I do have to say something tonight. We've sat here for probably going on 5-6 months and listening to the folks about the dog, and we've pretty much stayed quiet. The thing that upset me tonight is when it got personal and they started mentioning the two Sherman brothers, Larry and Jeff. I've known these two gentlemen for over 30 years, and I can say from my heart that everything they've ever done for the city, acting as our attorneys, have always been in the best interest of the city. Anything that they tell us is always based on the law, on their experience, on their professionalism. And for somebody to sit out in the audience and just do an attack on them, this has nothing to do with the dogs, okay? This has to do with two people that have spent over 30 years working for this city, and I just think that's wrong, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. If I think of my other item, I will address it to you at the end. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the first festival with fireworks, that probably, I mean, it coincided with me being born, so yeah, maybe that was the reasoning behind it. I don't know.
I'd be
Mr.
interested
Sherman?
in your explanation on that, but
Maybe celebration, I don't know. Mr. Sherman, do you have anything tonight?
I would thank Councilman Corbett, or Councilman Gettings for his comment, and nothing further tonight, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
All right, Manager Marsh.
Yes, I'd like to address the GFL situation. So staff did meet with GFL representatives this morning, and we are working on an extensive report to send to council regarding the follow-up that happened this morning, as well as options. One of the things that I was happy to see is that GFL as a company is recognizing this as a regional issue. It's not just an issue for Madison Heights. This is happening all over, and actually not even with just GFL. It's happening with other waste providers as well. But they have made a change on their operations. They've recruited nationwide for an individual to come in and take over and completely revamp their operations. So that guy is starting the beginning of his 3rd month, and he told us about a plan for once. Instead of, in the past, I've sat through at least 3 other GFL meetings in the past year where we've tried to address issues, and it seemed like there were a lot of excuses. But today, for the first time, I heard a plan that I thought would actually work. It is being implemented. It's not going to be fixed by, tomorrow, but by July the 1st, we will see some significant changes in the operations of GFL. So I'm hopeful that that is going to help the situation, but the city does have the residents' interest at heart, and we are following up on that. And if that does not resolve the issues, we will be looking at other options. So that's all I have tonight.
Anything more, clerk?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing. Councilor Grassley.
Thank you. I actually was at the GFL meeting this morning. It was my first, and because staff is preparing a report, I'm not going to get into any of the details of what was discussed, but I will echo what Mrs. Marsh said, that it does sound as though they are taking this seriously, that this is not just our city, it is something that is happening regionally, and they're not just looking at what they can do to help us in our city, they're looking at this company-wide and region-wide, and there is a new person that they did bring to Michigan to deal with this. And when we finished the meeting, I said to him, I said, this is the fourth meeting. You know, as Mrs. Marsh said, this is the fourth meeting. It's my first, but this is the fourth one. We need something this time. We can't just hear excuses. And it sounds like they are. So once that report is ready, we'll have it. But I agree. We renewed this contract a year ago. And it was during excuses, and they were coming up with solutions. But it sounded like there were solutions that they were going to have at the time. But this time they actually have a plan, and there's a big difference between solutions and plans. This time they have an actual plan. So I'm impacted the way that everybody else is. I have days when my garbage isn't picked up. I have days when there's a bag that's left. You know, it's the same thing. So hopefully we'll have that soon. And one of the things that they did say is they have one specific thing that they are working on, and that's going to be implemented July 1st. They can't do it any earlier than that. So I'm hopeful that by the middle of July, we will have seen, you know, if not the first week and the second week, we'll have seen some of these changes. Not everything's going to change overnight. There are a number of issues. It's not one thing, but that we will slowly start to see the improvements. So that's it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Scott, anything tonight?
Yes. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, for my hoarse voice. I just wanted, for the benefit of people that are not thoroughly involved in the city, the GFL stands for Green for Life, which is our rubbish company that we have had. And I know that Melissa is working very hard on trying to make sure that they do what they say. And I believe that that will change and will be for the benefit of all the citizens. I wanted to talk about a very happy occurrence yesterday, and even in spite of the fact that it was a sad reason. Our Joy Davids, who has been known so far throughout our region as an expert on history, passed away on July 18th of last year. The city and the Historical Commission felt so distraught by losing her and the work that she did for us that we had decided at that point to have a special event to honor her memory and invite the family and members of the public and their friends that were close to Joy and knew her. We held that event yesterday, and it was a Sunday because we wanted a lot of people attending between 2 and 4 in our heritage rooms, which are in the lower level of City Hall. And I know there are some people that aren't even aware that they're there, but we wanted to thank City Hall again for giving us that space to have all of our heritage honored. But Joy was a most well-loved lady, and her husband Lee is still around. They did celebrate their 70th wedding anniversary, actually a couple days before she passed away, so we feel bad about that. But the family is very involved in Madison Heights. They've made donations, given a lot of support to Madison Heights history. And so we had a hell of an event yesterday. We ordered 50 chairs, but we ran out of chairs very fast. There were probably, I would estimate, 75 people that attended, saw our heritage rooms and loved them very much. But we honored Joy, and I wanted to announce that we have renamed a room downstairs because she was so heavily involved in yearbook research and knew everything about the schools. That was her forte. We have the room dedicated to her and her husband Lee, and the plaque that we are installing on the door reads the Joy and Lee Davids Yearbook and Research Library. So that will be dedicated to their family, and they were very sentimental about that. Her daughter, Mary Willer, also donated a beautiful post that will be displayed outside at a predetermined location that will have, it's a piece, it's the post that you put in your garden. So it says peace on it. On one side it says Joy, which was her name. And so they donated that to our city to be planted where a bush that they are going to dedicate in Joy's memory will be donated to our city. And I also wanted to say that we presented the family and our museum with a beautiful portrait of Joy that was engraved. There will be a plaque that says, in memory of Joy Fair Davids, that was her maiden name. She graduated from Madison High School in 1949. And so there will be a plaque hung next to her picture that will read, "Thank you for the joy that you brought into our lives." So that was a Historical Commission donation. We want to thank everybody for being there and for honoring a very lovely and meaningful lady to our city. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Soltis, anything tonight?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. And thanks for stepping in tonight, too. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
You did a flawless job.
I mean, sometimes you got to step off the bench, right?
Right. I want to talk kind of, well, not necessarily on a lighter note, but a different note, about some other hidden issues that to me are extremely important. One is hopefully next council session, we'll be able to present a dementia-friendly city resolution. So I've been reading about that. There's a Michigan Dementia Coalition that talks about having a city that is more dementia-friendly. It's kind of a complex issue because dementia itself is kind of a complex issue. So we're going to look into that. We're going to pass a resolution, hopefully, or at least present it for council to consideration to make us a dementia-friendly city. And with that will come with creating our own roadmap. So we have some templates that we can use, but one here from the Michigan Dementia Coalition has a dementia-capable roadmap. And there's topics, people, partnerships, public health, and policies. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's it's important. Even the state of Michigan, I was reading that they put out their 2019-2022 roadmap for creating a dementia-capable Michigan, and that came out May of 2019 this year. I just want to go over some stats that they pulled. It's estimated that 190,000 Michiganders, age 65 and older, have Alzheimer's dementia. And by 2025, that is currently projected to grow about 250,000. That's a lot. So I applaud the state of Michigan and the new governor trying to get ahead of this before it turns into a real catastrophe. And they talk about the estimated costs is unpaid cares could be up to $7 billion. They talk about 2/3 of Americans with Alzheimer's are women. Older African Americans are twice as likely to have dementia. So it's a big problem, and I think we would be one of the first cities to be involved in this, and I look forward to doing that. The second issue is I was reading in a Free Press article, and it pertains to these chemicals that are in our water. And I don't know if anyone's read it, but they're called PFAS. They're the most widespread serious contamination problem since PBB crisis in the 1970s. I think I remember it as a kid, but I remember it was a huge problem, and so is this. And this is something that's not going to go away. Michigan here, and according to this article, Michigan has tested more than 1,700 public drinking water supplies statewide for these PFAS compounds. Every public water system, even down to the mobile home park, every school, every daycare, Head Start has these in the water system. Regulatories have also tested residential wells and have found this contamination as well. So that's a big problem. And I really think if we as a city can maybe get a hold of this, ahead of this too, and find out how we can maybe do some spot checking or look into this issue more and figure out ways to help at least Madison Heights. Because according to this article, it's in our water and we're drinking it, and it's not being filtered out or it's not being taken out of the water yet because it's not been regulated, and there's no enforcement for the water treatment plants to take this out of our water. So I think we really need to take a look at that, because it could be among many things that are being poisoned with, especially in our water system. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Cool. So for me, the first couple of items are, gosh, the throwbacks. You talk about history. My first two items are GFL and DTE. So it's taking me back. I'm very frustrated that GFL has slipped back into some of the bad service that we were getting. I thought that we were on the right path. I won't belabor the point, but I would like the report from staff to include whether or not our legal opinion is that they are in breach of contract for the declining service. I want that to be specifically called out. Are they or are they not in breach of contract by opinion of legal counsel? I would like to know that. Second, we had multiple brownouts over the weekend. I just want to make sure that DTE is still on track. After we had the public meeting with DTE, as well as the follow-ups, the private ones, I know I attended one. We got really good service. All of the power outages seem to decrease. This is the start of the AC season. I want to make sure that we're still in good shape, that our residents aren't going to suffer not just the inconvenience, but it's a real safety hazard when power is out. So if we could follow up with DTE just to make sure that it's not going to be a recurring occurrence again. Next, the Arts Board has an Art the Park event on Saturday, June 22nd. Please plan to come out, bring your families. Not only will the muralist for the Civic Center mural be painting and talking about the art, but there's going to be a ton of events like sidewalk chalk, face painting, shaving cream sculptures, just a ton of really good things to do for families, and it's going to be kind of a bring your own picnic and lawn chairs. Just be a nice activity as we get to unveiling the full completed mural at the festival in the park that Councilman Gettings mentioned. I would also like to highlight that as the school year comes to an end, there are those in our community who the children depend on the schools to receive a couple meals a day. It should be noted that our school districts do have programs in place that members of the community that are in need can come to the school, and the kids would still be able to eat and have meals. So I would just direct those who are interested or know somebody who could benefit from that information to our school district's websites for more information. Also would like to thank everyone for bearing with me by chairing the meeting. I mean, obviously I planned for it, and the fact that my name take's not even changed. But I thank you. It's difficult. I think I've been in that audience before, and I've spoken at public comment. First of all, it's really tough to get everything into 3 minutes, and it's tough to not call out an individual, or you're not having a back and forth dialogue. And so I know that that's difficult, and I appreciate the public for bearing with me, for being so thoughtful and respectful as it relates to time. I really do appreciate that. I would also like to say wow to the comments from Emma Green. Thank you for saying that. I remember both of your stints as mayor on our mock council program. You're going to do some amazing things. So keep at it. Keep pushing every city government you ever come in contact with to do better and to be better. That's all I have for tonight. Any other comments from council before we close? Cool. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.